What's up, YouTube? This is Gray Man with another Gray Man review. And spoilers ahead for, obviously, Samurai 8. So if you haven't read Chapter 3, you might want to do that. Excuse me. So let's get into it right away. Starts off with, obviously, where we left off last week. The pig samurai inside of a cake tank coming back to battle. And now it doesn't start off with that, actually. They come back to battle, but it starts off with I guess a samurai out in the field where the pig samurai had done all that wreckage and damage and like basically killed a whole bunch of people. And so we go out there and we see the samurai, like captain dude or whatever. I'm not even really sure. He could be a grunt for all I know. Important enough to be like giving orders and then like explaining things to people. So he told one of the I guess, excuse me, one of the peasants, I guess, or I don't know. He had kind of like shittier armor on with this like straw bamboo hat. Looked like a peasant soldier from out like the rural area. And so anyway, he tried to draw this sword thinking that these people were going to attack him. And the main samurai captain explains to him that it's a ID sword, and so that it can only be pulled by the people that are registered to that weapon, which is pretty dope. That the swords can only be used by like their official owner and everything like that. So you can't just like take their weapon and start using it unless it's already unsheathed, I'm assuming. And then because it only stops you from pulling it out of the sheath. So I'm assuming that if you get it from them when it's already out of the sheath, then all bets are off and that you can go ahead and get at it. But until then, you can't just like steal it from them. You gotta like really take it from them. So I guess that works out. Like if they draw their sword, then they should be ready for combat. But anyway, outside of them being ready for combat or not ready for combat, we have Hachimaru chilling while all of these people are talking about this cake tank that basically came through the line and destroyed it. And so that leads us to where we see Hachimaru and these newcomers, I guess, because him and Nanashi finally leave her dorm room, and make it outside, kind of closer to the courtyard. And he's greeted by these other two people that notice that he has like a real samurai soul and are pretty impressed by that. And so they're talking to him and like being super praiseful of him and everything like that, which kind of gets to Nanashi because she doesn't. This kind of more so pushes her to the belief that they don't have anything in common and that they aren't the same. And so, which she's wrong. I'm still gonna say she because, like I said, it looks like a chick, and I think the name Nanashi sounds like a girl's name, even though it means like nameless, I believe. Still, anyway, Nanashi ends up going to like this Buddha statue and talking to her hands, which at first I thought she was talking to the Buddha, but then I realized that it's her hands that are talking to her, like always. And so her hands are talking to her and basically telling her that she can't just ignore her feelings and that she needs to go ahead and acknowledge that she wants to be Hachimaru's friend. But while she's doing that and having a conversation with herself, the pig warriors come and blow an entrance into the dojo, and they're prepared to take down the dojo and just basically are causing a wreck. All the recruits there are looking for like the teachers and everything like that, but all the teachers are at the canal below, so there's no one there right away to help them. And so they pull up immediately with the tank on smash, blasting right at Hachimaru, who thought he had his sword, but he doesn't. And so since it's not his sword, like I explained in the beginning, they're ID swords. It's Nanashi swords. So he can't draw the sword. So the first one, he gets smacked with the first cannonball, Well, actually, Taro I expect protects him, but they still get smacked. Like the whole shield is all wrecked. There's a pretty big hole in the middle and center of it, and so yeah, Taro was able to protect him the one time, but it doesn't look like it'll be able to do it again because they're right there, just like point blank, unloading tank shells on him. So he still can't undo the sword, but he realizes it's his. And so basically, Nanashi comes and saves him. Well, not really saves him, but allows him to pull out the sword, and then him and her together do a slice the cannonball in half, and basically cut the tank in half and save the day for the most part. But then it switches to them basically having a conversation, and it looks like Hachimaru might be leaving Nanashi, which I don't think is going to last too long. I know inside of the community, a lot of people are like, oh my God, why would he create a character that a lot of us are really invested in, especially even given last chapter where she got a decent bit of character development for a brand new character. Like, you know who she is, kind of her backstory, got a taste of her personality and things of that nature. So I'm definitely into her. So I don't want to see her like just disappear. But what I think is going to happen is that Hachimaru is going to plan to leave, and then she's going to leave the dojo and go with him. But then, like I said, it switches from that scene and him and her talking and him getting ready to leave to Hachimaru's father and Dormaru, Hachimaru's teacher, sitting down and having a conversation about who the father actually is. Which, now that I think about it, why did he have the soul, and why did he have all of these things for Hachimaru? So that's just interesting. Like, maybe he was a samurai back in a previous time period, or maybe he fled with like the star pupil or somebody who was like said to have great potential. Because it doesn't seem like everything is really under control, or it's like a really stable world. It's like this space travel, obviously, from the first couple of chapters, we can get that and grasp. And then it's obviously not as complex to get into space as it is, obviously, in our universe. So, with those two things being said, it doesn't seem like this whole intergalactic space travel world is free of a lot of like crime or conflict and strife. So, I feel like maybe he had to leave and he took him with him, and that's like not even his biological son, but just someone that had the potential that he's protecting and raised, and was trying to hide and have a normal life to keep him away from something. I'm not sure. I'm just making stuff up at this point, obviously, because there's no clues. Or he could just be like a super dope ass samurai, and that could really be his son, and like he could have decided that he wanted to like leave the war and everything like that, and he put that the samurai spirit inside his son because his son was sickly, so he figured that would help him out. I don't know yet. I'm leaning towards he had a greater purpose and there's something else going on with Hachimaru, but I'm not 100% sure. But this feels kind of like a slow takeoff, but I guess that's the same with Naruto and a lot of other manga that I've read. So I'm not upset about that. I enjoy it. It's setting up that the world is going to be developed as well as the characters and not just one or the other. And so I'm here for that. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of stories where you're like, oh, we get a ton of character development as they move through the story, but you know relatively nothing about the world outside of like what they're doing inside of it. So I'm not mad at this. I think it's a great chapter. I know a lot of people inside of the community are mad, or not even necessarily mad, or divided between do they think that this is going to be Kishimoto's greatest work, or not even greatest work, but his Hunter x Hunter to Naruto as his Yu Yu Hakusho, or if it's going to be a failure. And a lot of people are upset that they don't know anything and they have so many questions about what's going on. But realistically, it's chapter 3, y'all. What do y'all expect to know? What are we going to know right now? There's literally nothing we can know. Like, things have just started. We haven't even figured out what the first arc is going to be about since we know that this is probably gonna. It feels like it's gonna be long running, and that there's gonna be a lot of content for it. We'd have no idea what the first arc looked like. Does that involve him immediately leaving? Is that going to be him staying on this planet and meeting up with people and like kind of gathering things to be ready to leave? Like, what does that even look like? So we have a lot of things that we need to get to before people start complaining about there's not enough information. It's chapter 3. I wasn't going to start doing theories until probably chapter 4, chapter 6. Give it some time, like I said, to build up so I can, go back and read things. But then giving the little Easter egg about the father kind of made me want to just talk about it, go in and give my opinions on what I think is going to happen. So I think the father's going to stay behind, or at least have to stay behind. Like, I don't know if he's going to want to, but I feel like something's going to make it so that he can't go with them. But I think that's going to be good. I think it's going to force Hachimaru to grow. Like I said, I don't think Nanashi will be gone for long. Maybe a chapter and a half at most. But I foresee her coming back or joining the journey into outer space once he takes that trip. So yeah. Other than that, I don't have too much else to say about this chapter. Again, it's only chapter 3. So not a whole lot. I did read all of Demon Slayer, so I will be doing a review for that. Spoilers for that one for sure, because it's so much farther than the manga, the anime, obviously. So if you don't want spoilers, don't listen to that review. I'll let you guys know, obviously, ahead of time in that review, let you know that there's spoilers coming. And then I'll be talking about the most current of chapters, because that's where I'm at with things. Other than that, like, subscribe, comment, Gray Man Reviews. I'm out.